Lord, I can feel your presence, putting all your peace in me. Lord, I can feel revival, breaking all the captives free. And though it sounds crazy, man, I used to hate me, till I met somebody who told me how he made me, how he died to save me. And if you want the same thing, all you gotta do is just say.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a video. If you're new here, I'm Lee and I post every week on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you some do's and don'ts and some tricks on building. I have been building in Bloxburg for about almost 4 years now. So hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes and I can show you some of the things that I learned over the years of playing Bloxburg. So let's get right into it. Okay, so as you can see right now, we have two identical looking houses. They both are the same shape. All we have on this house so far is a roof and then a door and a window, and the other one is just plain. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to add on to the plain one, and I'm going to show you how you can make a simple box house look a lot better. Okay, so what we're going to start out with is some simple bump outs, just to make the house not look too boxy. And for this one, I'm just going to make it a little longer than the front and then bring it in on the side. It looks very nice on this side, it looks very nice in the front, and then I am going to do one more in the back. That way we just have little bump outs, and you don't need a bump out on every wall. That's obviously not how all houses are. This is just a way to make your houses look more realistic. And now you can already tell how this house that we just did with little bump outs is looking way better than that other one. And we started from the exact same base, a 4x4 box, and we're just adding little bump outs, and it's making a whole lot of a difference. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is roofing, and honestly, roofing can be a hit or miss on any house. It really can be hard. Sometimes you have to redo some walls just to make something work, especially with the gable roof not being able to be rotated. It can be difficult, but we're just gonna start out by manually placing it around all the walls and all the corners, and this is what we get. Now you can already see it looks good on the back, it looks good on that side, but it does not look good in the front. It just doesn't look right. So we're gonna try to go back in and manually place it differently. And this time I'm just going to do the big box and the back bump outs to see how that turns out. And then I'm going to make the roof taller and the sides of the roof a little thicker, just to give it a little bit more . Okay, so now that we're done with the roof, you can see a side-by-side comparison to both of these and which one looks better in your guys' opinion. The box house or this one that has some bump outs, has a thicker roof, has just some more to it than this box house. Now what we're going to do is we are going to do the doors and the windows. Now, when you're building a house, you really do need to think what style you want. If you're going for a cottage house, or if you're going for a traditional house, or if you're going for like a modern house, there's so many different options, but you need to make sure that your doors and your window type match. Just that way it doesn't look out of place. So if you're going to build a cottage house, cottage houses traditionally have more detailing in them and maybe different roof style and really a lot of gardening and bushes and greenery. So if you're going for a cottage house, that would be what you'd want to do. And if you're going for a modern house, they have a lot of windows, so like that door, that is definitely a modern door. Now if you're going to go for a traditional house, they might have some brick in there, but also a cottage house might have some brick in there too. So I would recommend looking at some reference pictures if you haven't really been building very much, and just to see what actual houses look like, and also to just find out what your style of house is that you like. That way you don't end up building a house that you're like, I think I did a good job on it, but it's not really my style. So I recommend definitely looking at some inspiration pictures. And even I, who have been building in Bloxburg for like 4 years, still look at stuff on the internet and like houses. So I also use a website. I will link it down in the description. It's basically you can go through and find what style you want, and it will show the layout and everything. That is very helpful. I actually use that in my fall house exterior, so go watch that video. But that definitely really helped, and it really helps with layouts, because I know sometimes those can be hard for people too. So it's really just what helps you and what it's like your thing in Bloxburg. Okay, so now we are moving on to windows, which it's... Okay, so now we're moving on to windows. Windows are normally something that is difficult to find where you want. So what I would do is sort of map out what room is which. So at this point, I would probably do the layout. Just to know where you're putting your window. You obviously don't want a giant window in your bathroom, although it happens, because sometimes you have to pick which one. Do you want it to look better in the front or on the exterior, or do you want it to look better on the inside? So it is sometimes that, if especially you have found a house that you're like, wow, I love this exterior, it is so good, and then you go into the interior and it's like, okay, this interior might be a little wonky, but I think I can make it work. So it's really just trying to figure out what fits, like what are you wanting to make maybe look a little bit better. Okay, so now as you guys can see, this house is obviously purposefully painted like dreadful colors, like oh my gosh, that bright blue trim around the door. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a color scheme that really matches, that is not clashing and has good textures that go well together, doesn't have too bright of colors, and just makes it all look fluent together. Now, I have seen people do this where they put out their color scheme before they build, but generally I don't do this, but just for you guys to kind of see my thought process and trying to show you guys how maybe the colors would match better, I'm just going to put them all together on sort of one wall, just to let you guys, you know, see them. Personally, I don't do this just because I think it takes up too much time, and sometimes you kind of have to change up the colors as you go while you're building the house. So yeah, generally when I am building though, I do go to my basically 4 or 5 general colors and textures that I use. I generally use a wood material, a brick or stone type of material. Then I normally use a blank material, just like normal material, I guess. And then I normally do use a color in there, just like a pop of color, so I normally do that on like the doors. Also, it is not like a very bright color. A color for a door honestly is like black, white, like a light blue, maybe a green, maybe even a nice red, just so it's not too bright, but it doesn't have to necessarily completely match with the house. It does have to match a little bit, but it can just be a little bit out there. That way you just have like a little cute like popping door, I guess. That's what I like to do. Okay, so now wall trim. Wall trim is definitely a need in basically every build that you do. It just finishes off, it makes it look a lot better. So I recommend doing at least a bottom wall trim like this one that I'm doing right now. I am alternating from either wall trim just to change some stuff up and to make that wall that is completely flat a little different, and just giving it some more. I can't believe I just said fat wall. I'm sorry, wall. And then another thing that is, you don't have to make this a need. Sometimes houses just don't need it. But pillars are a really good add to houses, builds. It's just gives it more. I definitely recommend using pillars. Okay, so now another side-by-side comparison on both the houses. I feel like the pillars, the wall trim, and the roof really looks a lot better. We haven't even gotten onto the color scheme, and yet this house would look great, honestly, without colors compared to this other one. So let's go ahead and do the colors now. Now, colors can be tricky just to find out which is which. So I do recommend clicking the back button, not like the delete button to delete the wall or anything like that. If you were gonna do that, just don't do that. Also, I definitely recommend coloring your pillars and like your top wall trim a wood color if you're doing like a traditional or just a house that honestly it fits with. I just think it makes it pop a lot better and like layer the textures. I'm not joking, it really does work. You just have to figure out what looks best. And honestly, if you think something looks good and someone else thinks something looks good, then it just might not be their style, and their style might just be totally different than yours. My style is probably traditional. It's just my comfort zone. Sometimes I do try to go outside of it, but it's just nice to be in that cushiony area where I feel safe. So also find that area for you. Find that safe area that just feels like I'm just gonna build a simple and easy house today in my comfort zone. And also try to adventure outside of your comfort zone. Try to find different building techniques, different building styles that you actually find out you like and you're actually really good at them. So definitely just adventure out of your comfort zone. I know I'm giving you a lot of like information right now, but just take it as you go, you know. Maybe you'll rewatch this video eventually and you'll be like, oh yeah, I actually took that in and I didn't even realize it, you know. So you're just slowly learning. That is everything that you can do, is just slowly learn. It's very much a growing process. If I had a picture of the first house I made, I can see it right now in my head. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. But back then, I thought I had the best house. I thought it was a mansion. I thought it was basically the best house ever. So, you know, you'll grow, then you'll see your other houses, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I actually built that, and then you'll trash it. It's just all part of growing. Okay, so now we're going to do gardening, which one thing that I can definitely tell you to never do is use paths on a path. If you do that, no, okay? You've heard me now, you know it. Don't do it. It is the worst thing ever. Just make your own path with flooring, okay? Also, slate is a very good texture for that. I used to use concrete, but I just feel like it just looks so much better. I also like to do like dirt sort of under my plants just to make it look I don't know, just to change it up. I probably will change that in the future, but right now this is how I build, and I think it looks pretty good. But in the future, my future self might be like, what? Who let me build like that? That's probably what she'll say. Okay, another good thing that I like to use is these green like bushes. I don't know what they're called, but I use them in literally every build. They look really nice. I do recommend putting the leaf texture on them though, just to make them look a little better and not like scratchy, thorny bushes with that grass texture on. I don't even know what they were thinking when they added that, no. And then I did fall colors because it technically is still fall, even though I want it to be Christmas. It's fall. Definitely stay in with the seasons too. Also, if it's spring and then you have a fall house, you can always change that house to spring and change it like that. But I would just recommend building a new house. I know if you're just starting out and you don't have that much money or something like that, you're just like, what? No, I don't even have that much money. You know what? It'll pay off to just go work at Bloxburg. It's the best job ever. It gives you so much money, and it really will pay off, I promise you. Don't buy money, because in the end, it's gonna go in a snap of your finger, and then you'll be like, where did all my money go? When you could have just been leveling up. And sure, at the start, you don't get that much money, but you will. This is not a working video, so I gotta I gotta move on to building. I also use those bushes on the side just to give it more gardening, and definitely don't use all the same gardening objects, plants. Don't do that, and make sure to color them different colors. It just gives it more of a diversity and to just make it pleasant to look at, and not instead you're having to squint at it because you're like, all the things are the exact same color. Okay, so here is our before house, before learning how to build decently and good. And here is our after house, giving you the tips and tricks to succeed in Bloxburg. We have a very nice looking back. We have a very nice looking side. Even though it's flat, it still looks nice. And we have a really good looking front. And that is basically all my tips and tricks for now. I am certain I did not get them all in there, but that is definitely the best way to do it. You have your beautiful gardening, you have your wall trim, you have pop-up color door, you have all the colors look nice, they mesh well, they go fluently. Do not use colors that don't mix. You can also look up color palettes to see what mixes and what looks good, just to figure it out. If you're like, what are you talking about, just look up color palettes, see what colors look right together, and that way you can figure that out. But that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys got what I was saying in this video. I know sometimes I can be all over the place, but I feel like I was decently going in the same direction the whole video. So I hope you guys could get what I was saying. Sometimes when I watch my videos, I'm like, what am I saying right now? But yeah, I hope you guys understood this decently. So that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to comment down below if this helps you, or if you do use some of these tricks on a regular basis, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye everyone, have a blessed day.
Lord, I lift my hands, I give all the praise.